Oh my goodness, thank you for your patience. Guys, we are here. And when I say we, I mean me. That's right. Al Jackson here, holding it down for Tori and Michael Dean. Tori's doing her thing. Michael Dean, I just wanted him to take the day because, obviously, guys, this is, I'm trying to get the right angle. I guess is the biggest I can make myself, which is very weird. Um, it's this isn't a paid operation yet, so I want to not burn everybody out. So this is where we are. So I try to give people days off where I can, but it's hard because there's so much stuff going on that even on the day that I tell Sarah we're just going to take the day, she's like, well, they're going to take the day. I realize now that I'm dating uh a stage mom that is just won't take no for an answer, where you're just like, mama, my leg, and she's like, get out there and shake it. This is a national Cheerios commercial, come on. So yes, I am here, and I was actually just I'm in the process of uploading the video now. I did want to show you guys this video I just showed of, or I just got a hold of, which is ICE, basically at an apartment complex, looking for suspects, people that they suspect to be in this country illegally, even though they don't know that, and just their lawyer who is not suffering fools today. So we are going to get to that, as well as some unsurprising Doge news. Um, and we are also going to talk about something that's kind of in my background, the measles. Yes, the measles are back, which is terrible. I don't want to hear anytime something's back, it either better be like the McRib or the Spice Girls. It's got to be something good. And I think only in the time that we're living in are diseases that when I was in graduate school were diseases that were called vestigial diseases, diseases that were basically eradicated, but just kind of diseases like cholera, like diseases that were around back in the day. Obviously, measles is more around during our lifetime, but they're just some diseases that don't really exist anymore. But when you put RFK Jr. in the seat and he's making decisions, all of a sudden we got crazy ass old school. We got they call them throwback diseases. So yes, we're going to talk about the measles outbreak, and also a little bit of random news. I just found out that I'm going to be headlining the Comedy Fort in Fort Collins here in Colorado. So if you are in the area, why don't you come on through and get some laughs this weekend? Colleagues, I'm really glad that yes, in polio, Julia, I definitely feel like we're going to see a rise in polio, just because, quite frankly, there are people in this country that vaccinate their kids um, because they're legally mandated to. Some, I know that there are some religious exemptions, but even those go out of the window if you want to enroll your kids in public school, public schools, or have them in public spaces. But you know, now you're going to have people that are not only anti-vaxxers, but also, just people that are whatever you believe. I don't care. What the issue is we're going to have kids that are born with diseases that we have figured out how to get rid of. And there is an intense sadness to that. There's just a lot of sadness going on, but there's also some joy going on. So, colleagues, as we're going through the news today, and it's very easy to find the negative. Is there anything out there? What are you guys excited about that you have coming up? My girl and her friend went to dinner last night. I did not go, but it sounds corny, but just seeing two old friends having dinner and catching up, and then getting in the car and telling me all about it is enough for me. I realize that a lot of the glue that connects this world, connects our memories, connects our life, doesn't make the news. It's just two friends having lunch together, having dinner together. So I was really happy that my girl had a great night. She came back. She had had a few. I love it when my girl's a little buzzed up. Nothing wrong with that. I know she's making a face right now. It's not against the law to have a couple French martinis. So last I checked. So yes, I always like when mamas had a few. I don't. It's weird. I don't know how many of you guys. I don't think I've ever seen my mom where I would ever call her drunk ever in her life. And my mom has always she'll always have a martini with you. She'll always have, not always, but have a glass of wine. But she's always one of those drinkers where I never understood. I'm like, how do you just have two? And my thing was like, if we have two, then we're finishing the bottle. And then, oops, I think we accidentally opened this other bottle, so we got to finish that one. That was the kind of drinker I was. So I stand in awe of the responsible drinkers like my girlfriend and my mom. One time I did come home and it was maybe I was in college at this point because I was coming home late at that point, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and my mom and my favorite Aunt Valerie were in the kitchen, and the eyes were at half mast, but they weren't doing anything. But I was just like, I think my mom Monty had a few, but that's like as close as it got. So I don't know. That's just a little memory for me, and maybe if I had learned from them, maybe I'd still be drinking, even though I'm kind of glad that I hit it hard and got out. So with that, guys, let's get to everything that is going on in the world. I wanted to talk about this because I heard about this either early this week or late last week, and I don't know if it's getting as much coverage as it should, just probably because there is not any video footage of it, because it happened in an ICE detention facility. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. So let's have a talk about it. All right, guys. Let's talk about Geraldo Lunis Campos, age 55. Have you guys, colleagues, have y'all heard about this gentleman who died in ICE custody? I'll go over really quickly. He's a Cuban national. He died in ICE custody on January 3rd, 2026. He died at Camp East, Montana, a sprawling detention facility at the Fort Bliss military base in El Paso, Texas. His death has sparked intense scrutiny due to conflicting accounts from the feds and eyewitnesses. And after, I think, the murder of Nicole Good, seeing how, even when there is video evidence that we all see, seeing how that they interpreted said video evidence lets us know that the credibility of what the federal government says happened, especially when it comes to somebody's death, when that person is under their detainment, is going to be questionable at best. The key details are such: the medical examiner was like, "Yo, and this is the El Paso County Medical Examiner's Office. They provided a preliminary autopsy and basically stated that the cause of death was due to asphyxia due to neck and chest compression. And that is a big fancy term for chokehold. Remember those? Remember we had to outlaw those after George Floyd? The chokehold was a method that was used by law enforcement for a long time before it was outlawed. And one of the issues with chokeholds, besides obviously you're in a chokehold, is it always provided the person administering said chokehold an out. Because I don't know if you have ever had somebody come up, and especially somebody that is skilled in applying that chokehold, where your chin is kind of in the nape of their elbow. It immediately cuts your air off, and you're almost losing consciousness within 8 to 10 seconds. And your natural reaction obviously is to reach back and try and stop this from happening, because you have something inside of you called the preservation of your own life. Now, what happens when you reach back and you're kicking and you're clawing and you're fighting to save your life? The officer was like, he was fighting me. I kept it on because he was fighting me. There is no human being in the history of the world that can have that kind of chokehold applied to them, and you just let your arms dangle at your side. It just does not happen. So we outlawed them because that was too often the reason cited for like why they applied that chokehold until the person was deceased. And like I've always said with chokeholds, we are probably now in year 20 of the UFC. There are the Ultimate Fighters. There are probably half of the fighters that are in that league specialize in submissions. Submissions are obviously arm bars and leg bars, but also choking people out. And you know what? We have never had somebody been choked to death in the ring, because it is immediately apparent when somebody cannot defend themselves anymore. And for somebody that's seen a lot of UFC fights, I haven't watched any in a while. It's within, I don't know, 8 to 12 seconds. And even when you're watching it as a spectator, you're like, get in there right now, ref. The fact that these chokeholds are applied for 30 seconds, 60 seconds is overkill. No pun intended. So witnesses accounts said that detainees who witnessed the incident reported that Geraldo Lunas Campos was handcuffed and tackled by at least 5 guards. He resisted and he was moved to a segregation unit. Witnesses stated they heard him repeatedly say in Spanish, "I cannot breathe." Where have we heard that before? I'll give you guys a second. Before he lost consciousness. Of course he did. The government's account, because we always provide both sides and we let you colleagues sort it out for yourselves. The initial ICE report says that Lunos Campos died after experiencing medical distress, which I guess is true. It's kind of like if you shoot somebody and you say that they died by loss of blood. I guess it's true. I guess you can phrase anything any kind of way. So it's very very different accounts. They then revised their statement. That is the ICE the ICE officials, and they said after the medical report came out, the medical examiner's report came out, they then backed up and have another statement, and their statement was that he attempted suicide and violently attempted the staff who was trying to keep him from killing himself. And I guess that they tried to keep him from killing himself, so they were so virulent in their struggle to make sure that this man stayed alive that they accidentally killed him. Guys, I don't know where this is all going to end up. We are going to talk about Trump and Davos, but I would like to ask you colleagues, like, where do you see the, I don't want to use the word retribution, but I feel like any candidate, Democrat, uh Democratic Socialist, Independent, that would run on a platform that does not involve finding out what really happened in the situations, because remember, we're still 3 years away from the finish line. I know that we're talking about midterms, but in terms of like somebody of real power that could hold tribunals, that could because yes, I'm talking about Nuremberg. I'm talking about going back and finding out who were the guards, literally within our lifetime. Who were the guards? Who was on duty? What was said? And because once we get one, there's no honor amongst thieves. They will rat themselves out, and we will find out who these ICE agents are. I did read an article the other day, which I thought was really interesting, that said the kids of like Gen Z kids are doxing their ICE agent parents online. So that's already starting to happen. A lot of them are just kind of ICE agents that kind of work in admin. And I know some people are like, well, they work on admin, they're not on the street grabbing people. But it's, I look at it like, you know, if you rob a bank, the person driving the getaway car gets just as much time as the person that puts the money in the bag. So you know, I don't discriminate. I think everybody should be held accountable and make sure that they're doing their job like they've been deputized, and in a lot of cases not deputized to do. I've also, and this is kind of like this is a lot more messy, but I saw on TikTok that a lot of people on Grinder in Minnesota are doxing ICE agents. And when Tom Homan, who is the head of DHS, was asked about this, he tried an interesting kind of turn of turning the argument around, saying, well, what are you trying to say, that it's you know, for somebody that says that they're progressive, why are you trying to out ICE agents that are homosexual, and it's not about that. Obviously, it's about finding out who are the people that are out there doing this, and people are finding them on any website that they can. So I'm interested to see where this all goes, and I'm interested to see also how the kind of archaic Democrats, the Jeffries, the Schumers, uh, how they'll try and get around this. Will they just kind of go down with the ship and just realize that their time has passed, or will they try and continue to hold on to power? What I do worry about is those old Democrats will have a lot of money behind them, and I wonder if they'll have just enough money behind them to kind of mess up progressive movements, because those guys have had their day, and I'm really hoping, the Hakeem Jeffries. I'm hoping that they'll take their cues and bow out. They've made a ton of money. They've done nothing as this administration has taken Americans' rights away at every possible turn. And for that, I hope that I hope whatever money that they made was worth it. So let's do this. Let's move on, because we're going to talk a little bit about measles. Oh, this is so depressing, but got to chit chat. Oh, before we get to measles, I wanted to talk about Doge. Yes, there has been a leak. I know, guys. I know. I know that you're shocked, but I'm going to read this article. I think we all saw from day one that the Doge, we're looking for government waste, was maybe the biggest BS story that was hoisted upon the American people. I'm like, so a person that is not from this country, a South African man, is going to come in and have access to all Americans' personal, sensitive financial data. And he has no background in this. He's just going to go through and he's going to hire a crack shot team of people to help him. Who are they? Are they former, people that worked in government, people that worked in, when you what's the census, and government finance and things like that? Absolutely not. They were 18 and 19-year-olds. One, I think we all remember, his name was Big Balls. Big Balls, don't forget, was later carjacked at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. And that is what initially led to federal troops being in DC. So this has been a long game. It's like one BS pawn begets another BS pawn. And so we have troops in DC because of this. And we also have something else. So let's see what else we got from Doge, because they've given us so much. They're the gift that keeps on giving. The Trump administration has admitted in a federal court filing that employees of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, improperly accessed and shared American sensitive social security data, contradicting months of prior denials. The disclosures reveal that a Doge staffer utilized an unauthorized third-party server, so it wasn't even secure. It wasn't even secure. Disclosures reveal that a Doge staffer utilized an unauthorized third-party server and entered a secret agreement with a political group seeking to overturn election results, with some data access continuing even after a court issued a restraining order to stop it. After. These are kids. The balls. I never even took my parents' car without permission. A court was like, do not. And they were like, nah, not only are we going to do it, we're not even going to do it on a secure server. That is unbelievable. While the Social Security Administration has referred referred them for potential Hatch Act violations for investigation, Democratic lawmakers are calling for prosecutions The filing vindicates whistleblowers that were all around telling us the whole time there's some BS going on around here. Y'all need to be hip to it because they're doing some shady stuff. That had previously warned about unsafe data practices. Ultimately, despite the privacy breaches and aggressive surveillance of federal employees, the operation failed to discover the widespread fraud that it ostensibly was created to expose. So that's a big fancy way of saying we didn't find nothing, but we did find a whole bunch of sensitive information on Americans. And guess who wants that? Not only the government for shady purposes, but people all over the world. The most sought after information, whether you're a company, whether you are looking to defraud people, is people's sensitive information. And we now know that that was being sold after they got caught because nothing was done. And I think that it brings up, uh, I guess, what has led to all of this, in that there's been no punishment for anything that's been done. I took a screenshot of this just to send to my friends because this is the kind of stuff we send to each other. But it was an article from Now This, and it basically says that January 6er, and I'll explain how this is all tied, that was pardoned, of course, will be tried on child molestation charges. All right, of course. Andrew Johnson, who is a pardoned January 6er, was one of thousands that was pardoned by Trump in early 2025. 6 months later, he was arrested again on child molestation charges. According to legal filings, Johnson repeatedly assaulted, this is hard to read, an 11-year-old child in Florida after sending inappropriate messages on Discord. So he's doing this online too. He's not even trying to walk the straight and narrow and then be a dirtbag. He's a dirtbag in cyberspace as well. He then tried to silence the child with bribes like an iPhone, which the child was told to keep secret. Johnson also told the survivor that he was going to be awarded $10 million for being a January 6er and that he would leave him any leftover money in his will. What a dirt bag. Not even, if you're gonna lie to a child that you were assaulting, just say you're gonna break them off this amount of money. You can't give no undisclosed amount of January 6th imaginary money. Like, if you're making it up, you're not gonna give them any money. Say you're gonna give them 9 of the 10. Make it up. The $10 million doesn't exist anyway. But he's just like, look, I'm gonna give you some of this bread. If I am unable to spend this before I die, and let's all assume that there is a couple of drug habits involved here. I think our good old friend Meth is around, but that's just speculation, allegedly. What do I know? But yeah. Yes. So this guy couldn't even say, yeah, hey, we go 50-50 on this January 6th money. He's like, no, any crumbs I got left over, have your name on it. What a dirtbag. Now, he's not the only dirtbag, because there was a bunch of dirtbags that were let go, just let out into the streets. Isn't that how the Joker started? Didn't he like get out and then let the jails out? Or I don't know, the Suicide Squad, one of those Avenger movies where like the bad guys get out and let, like, that really happened. And we're surprised that I'm reading articles like this off my phone now. Johnson is not the only January 6er. Oh, hold on, give me a second. I got woozy. The surprise. Okay, I'm back. He's not the only January 6er to be arrested less than a year after being pardoned. At least 33 of the insurrectionists Trump pardoned face criminal charges again. January 6ers like Zachary Alam, who was arrested for breaking and entering into a home near Richmond, Virginia. At least, I mean, he kept it local. You know, he got out and was like, no, I'm not about to drive. I'll go to Richmond, but I'm not going to be doing cross-country crimes. Christopher Moynihan is facing charges for threatening to kill House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. And uh, so that happened. I had like 4 jokes, and I was just like, we're not gonna make any of those. And John Benulos is currently being held in custody for a kidnapping and assault charge. These men were handed a get out of jail free card less than a year ago, and more than 33 of them are already back in jail. I just I read a lot. I read an article earlier today that the guy that went, remember there was the Pizzagate scandal where all the QAnon people, remember QAnon? I think some of them are still around. QAnon people are like old baseball cards. Like you go in the attic and you're like, oh yeah, I remember these. Yeah, the guy that went to, remember QAnon had this big thing where they were sure that the Democrats were molesting uh children in a pizza shop in Washington D.C. in the basement. It was later found out that this place didn't have a basement, which is what they want you to think. Sorry, that was my QAnon brain coming in. So there was a man who took in all this information, processed it in whatever feeble brain was given to him by the good Lord, and he went to said QAnon location, said pizza location with an AR-15. He was promptly arrested, and because you can't really be doing that. And he was later, or I should say earlier this year, he was killed by police after he was detained. After he's pulled over, when the officer approached his passenger door, he brandished a weapon. Officers told him to drop it several times. He declined, and they shot him, and he later died in the hospital. So these are non-serious, very serious people. I think there's most people on the internet, even trolls we get in this room, they're just lonely guys, lonely people. Some of them are bots, but some of these people are serious. And not only have they been able to find each other, but they've been able to organize, and they've been shown by the current government that's in charge that even when you get caught, none's going to happen. And they've also been shown by the Democratic Party that came in after Trump 1.0. Is there nothing about all the stuff we're dealing with right now, colleagues, that tells you that a lot of this isn't the failings of the Biden administration, the failings of, Ford not to prosecute Nixon, for Obama to have not prosecuted Bush or Cheney for war crimes, and for Biden to not have prosecuted, and Merrick Garland, who is just such a flaccid, weak man. Merrick Garland, I just know right now Merrick Garland's somewhere at a $5,000 a plate luncheon in DC, giving a speech about the history of the American judicial system. And he let us down more than I remember. His name first came on my radar because I think Obama wanted him to become a Supreme Court justice. And this is back when, who's the guy that looks like a turtle? Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell was like, no, and they just delayed, and then we just never got that Supreme Court justice. And I was like, why didn't he fight harder for that seat? They were just like, they said no. We have to have Democrats to come in and prosecute from top to bottom. And don't get it confused. The MAGA elites know this. Don't forget. Remember Steve Bannon, who was all over the Epstein files? How is that? What happened to that? How has that not been talked about? Steve Bannon is the de facto kind of thought leader for MAGA. MAGA, their entire purpose for the last 4 years was like, we are going to get to the bottom of the Epstein files. We didn't get to the bottom. We got to the top, and the pictures at the top were all Steve Bannon taking mirror selfies with Jeffrey Epstein, like 2 girls about to go to homecoming. I've never taken a mirror selfie with another man, I'm trying to think about like when me and Sar would take a mirror selfie. Maybe if we were getting dressed up when we were going to send a picture of us to our mothers, like ready for the big casino night. Bannon and Epstein are the best of friends, and MAGA said nothing. They just nothing. So yeah, so I think, but speaking of Steve Bannon, the reason I brought him up is he was very strident in his opinion. He was like, the midterms are coming, and he was like, basically, wake up, MAGA. We need y'all to get out there and vote because he said a lot of people in this room are going to go to jail, and that's one thing I think we can all agree on because he knows Steve Bannon is a dirtbag. Steve Bannon looks like whatever is in the dumpster of a pizza parlor. It's just he's red and just pale white. He's a very unattractive man, but he knows the mind of his voters, and he knows what they've done. And I mean, if we're not going to get him on the Epstein stuff, which again, we're a month out of the deadline for the Epstein files to be released, it at a certain point, at what point are we not going to hold some of the Democrats? I don't know about at fault, but take them to task for doing nothing. Isn't that like if you asked me you were going to pay me to babysit your kids and you came home and I was upstairs in your bed. I just gotten out of the shower. I'm laying in the bed watching Netflix, and one of the kids is downstairs and they've hurt themselves because they were jumping off of something, and one of them broke their toe. Like I didn't break it, but my negligence allowed that to happen. And I think the Democrats at this point, they haven't said anything about the Epstein files. And I know they're like, well, we don't have any power. You got the power that I got. Get on the mic, bro. We don't hear from y'all. Make a TikTok saying, I don't like this. Y'all need to do something because you guys look really bad. You guys are starting to look complicit. And that's not what you want your base, because I feel like just as much as we talk about Republicans, but I don't think really Republicans exist anymore. I think it's just MAGA. I think there are like the Lincoln Projects, old school. I'm a conservative Republican. You go to the museum to see them. They don't really exist anymore. It's MAGA or nothing. And I wonder if just as the Republicans evolved into MAGA, if we're going to see the Democrats evolve into whatever their next form is going to be. Because just like a snake sheds its skin, I couldn't feel more distant or underrepresented from Hakeem Jeffries and Cory Booker. They sound silly when they talk. Chuck Schumer sounds ridiculous when he talks. And I think they know that. I can't imagine the comments that are underneath their posts. But and Liz says the USA is gone. I don't know if it's gone. I think everything just changes. And change is usually kind of started by one side and then forced, because of that change, it forces the other side to change. So for example, let's use the football analogy. There was when you watch old like black and white football footage and they're just running old school football, which I kind of love. They just toss the ball and three guys run into a pile. That was just what football looked like. And then somebody started throwing the forward pass. And somebody's like, oh shit, how do we defend that? And they were like, I don't know. Then they started getting guys that could knock passes down, guys that could guard wide receivers. It caused the other team to shift. And I'm wondering if we're going to see that with MAGA, if we're going to see the fact that MAGA Republicans are the Kristi Noems. I didn't see nothing. Renee Good tried to run that cop over. What up? I think she is the new version of Republican, and we're still on the old version of Democrat. We're still running that version of Safari on our computer, and it's slow and it's clunky and your computer's not working because the software is different. And like I said, I hope those guys made a ton of money. There's lots of money to be made on the speaking circuit, talking about how they did nothing and allowed this to happen over the course of 8 years. Godspeed, fellas. I'll be in the front row. And while you guys are gone, we need to get some younger voices much younger than myself, people that are ready to fight, because I do think now Democrats have been transformed as well. And when I say Democrats, I think a lot of people like myself don't even consider ourselves Democrats. I think there were two kinds of voters, and I'll accept some of the blame as well. They're like crazy MAGA Republicans that were like they're drinking baby's blood. There's a sex cult in the bottom of this pizza place. Trump is literally Jesus brought in this planet, and there are people like me that was like, y'all want to have a game night tonight? Y'all want to go to the bar? I think there's a lot of people that weren't into politics really at all. I knew I didn't like the MAGA stuff, but I didn't really care, and that's why I said I'm part of the problem as well. And people like me and my apathy, because we were enjoying our lives and enjoying our kids and our friends and trying to enjoy this journey that we were on, we made the mistake and we took our hands we took our eyes off the road. And when we came back to, there were nothing but people with red hats in the way. So I think younger people that are seeing this, that are 26, 22, the age I was when I didn't know who the attorney general was when Obama was in office. Who was it? Was it the black dude from Chicago? What was his name? What's his name? I think he got in trouble too. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know because I was laughing with my friend Eric Holder. Thank you. I'm glad some of y'all were on this while I was taking shots at the bar. I appreciate that some of y'all were being adults in there. I don't know if I ever told you, we used to go to this bar and in Hell's Kitchen in New York. It's gone now. That neighborhood's gone, but it was called 1-2-3 Shot, and all they served was shots. They didn't serve beers. They didn't serve the Shirley Temples or Bloody Marys. They just served shots, and like you would get a shot that was called like a Top Gun, and then the Top Gun theme music would come on, and they put a captain's hat and those black sunglasses on you, and you take it. Was I just remember how much effing fun we had in that bar, and it really makes me mad that 24-year-olds just can't have a period of their life where they lose 2 years just laughing and being drunk with their friends. Unfortunately, those 24-year-olds have to be mobilized because now we realize that these dudes ain't playing. They're going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming for the vaccines. They're going to keep coming for, they already got Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, ACA. They did that in like the first year. They're efficient. And so that efficiency and that force has to be met with equal force. Otherwise, they'll railroad you. And I think that's what we have seen, but I think things are going to change. I think we are going to have a different party come in that's going to be a lot more aggressive. And I think the first way that they can signal that at least there's going to be some kind of punitive penalty for the behavior that we have seen by these ICE agents that are going door to door, kicking in the door and saying that that's legal, dragging U.S. citizens out. Let me see if I drop that. I want to, if you guys will give me 1 second, let me see if the video uploaded. It's a video of a lawyer. And what hit me was just like the arrogance. Here it is now. The arrogance of the ICE agents, and I sound really weak when they're so mean. I'm like, why are y'all so mean? Like, y'all are like 27. They're like the meanest dudes. So yeah, okay, it's uploading. So this is why the show is a little delayed. I wanted to get this video in to show you guys just kind of what people are dealing with when the ICE agents come, because they are aggressive. They are charging people, physically charging people away like a rhino would. And the videos that I've seen in the last days that are different from, I think, the videos we saw even way back last week is last week, there were people videotaping and blowing whistles, and the ICE agents were clearly annoyed, but they'd be like, back up, back up. The video I saw today, that's not even this video. There is a man who is a U.S. citizen being tackled and detained on the street in neighborhood. I don't know what neighborhood it was. A guy comes out of his house with his phone and he's like, That guy is a U.S. citizen. What the F are you doing? The ICE agents realize where the voice is coming from, charge this guy, open his fence, run up his stairs, and come get him like off his porch in his doorway. Like, we are way past violating just one or two rights. At this point, Americans, especially Americans with phones and Americans with whistles, Americans with citizenship, it don't matter right now. And you have to keep that in mind. I think there was a period of time where even those that disagree with you most vehemently realize that because of the Constitution, you have the right to actively protest. These ICE agents do not recognize that right at all. And when you are out, standing up for your neighbors and your loved ones and the people in your community, you should keep in mind that these people will tackle you. They don't care how old you are. We saw that they dragged that elderly man out of his home in 9-degree temperatures yesterday with no clothes on, even though he was a U.S. citizen, and just drove him around. So none of us can propose to be safe. And I think because of that fact that is indisputable at this point, I think that bringing everything back full circle, that the Democrats need to make it so that there is a punishment for breaking constitutional, the taking people's inalienable rights and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. Once you violate that, I think that there needs to be significant and severe punishment. I don't want to hear any of this shit from these new Democrats saying we need to look forward. Those are Americans, brothers and sisters. They just believe differently than us. No, the behavior that has gone on, the fact that people, I think they said at this point, the number of people that have died in ICE custody at this point, if you add up the number of people, including Mr. Campos, who we spoke of earlier, it's equaling out to every other day now. And the video is ready to go, but I do want to say this, and I want to say this to you colleagues, because I heard it and I hadn't thought about it. Because I used to always, when I'd be in history class, or you hear anything about concentration camps, you'd be like, how did the people in Germany didn't care that there was a concentration camp in their neighborhood? Guys, we have those right now. We have those right now. And what I heard, and what I cannot take away from, what I cannot get to stop rattling around in my head, is that concentration camps start off as detainment camps. But as things ramp up, as it appears that they are losing control and are going to have to run, they turn into death camps. And we are starting to see that people are starting to die regularly in ICE custody. So we cannot turn a blind eye and say we did not know. The conditions are such that we are also seeing people dying not only from chokeholds that are administered, but they will also be dying from, again, speaking of diseases that are gone, diseases like dysentery and hunger, thirst, malnutrition, those kinds of things. So let's get to this video. And this video is shot by it's from her point of POV. It's a young immigration lawyer. So let's take a look here. Let's do this angle.
What are you trying to do? They have active applications. They're here legally.
Don't put your phone in my face.
Don't push me.
Don't put your phone in my face.
Why would you push somebody?
Stay arm's length away from me.
I'm right here. I was
Stay an arm's length away from me.
I was.
Next time I'll take you into custody.
I'm right here.
I don't know who you played with in the past, but I'll take you in.
I'm an attorney.
I don't care.
Immigration attorney.
I don't care.
And I'm a
if you violate the law, guess what, immigration attorney?
Right,
you'll be standing in court too.
I'm standing right here.
18 U.S.C. 111.
So you're going to come after me? You're going to shoot me? These guys have active asylum applications. There's nothing wrong with them. Why are you trying to pick them up?
You don't know what they have.
So why are you trying to pick them up? You have no idea. It's not legal.
It's none of your business.
It is my business. I'm their attorney. It's exactly my business. Get the fuck out of this apartment. Get out of here. Just leave. These guys are here legally. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Funny.
You're funny. What are you trying to do? I'm arm's length.
Yeah, good. You learned your lesson.
So get out of here.
You're a wise attorney.
Get the fuck out. Go. Can't believe you're not afraid to show your face. Get out of here. You must not be from around here.
Oh, we are.
You're touching your pepper spray? You're gonna pepper spray me?
You were saying you're their attorney?
Do you have a warrant?
So under their conditions,
No, do you have a warrant?
You do not need a warrant to knock
Yeah,
on
the
their
fuck
door.
you do. Get out. Get out.
Cops make warrantless arrests on the day.
Yeah, it's illegal. It's against due process. Get out. It is.
If you develop
You
probable
are not
cause,
an
Mrs.
attorney. Get out.
You would know that we
Fourth
could take
Amendment.
the person into
Why
custody.
are you without arm's length? You just came up to me. So back off. Arm's length. Right now.
So on their
Don't you
order,
dare push me again.
On their 220
Get the
Alpha
fuck
or 220
out!
Bravo.
ICE is here! ICE is here! Do not come out! Get the fuck out now!
We go where we want to go, and we stay as long as we want to stay. So
Because you're such tough guys. You're such tough guys.
Maybe you should just walk your ass inside,
Get out.
and then we probably leave.
Just get out.
We're disrespectful.
You show me a warrant.
You're funny.
Ma'am, I already told
You
you
show
when
me a
you're
warrant.
the 220 Alpha or
No,
220
no.
Bravo.
Show me a
Their
paper that.
conditions of
Show me a paper that you can
release,
pick
if
up
you're the
these
attorney.
specific people.
Listen.
There is due process, and you guys are not
Exactly.
following it. So
And
get
there
in
are
your
also
car and get the
conditions
fuck
of
out.
release. There are also conditions of release.
You
that
have no
must
idea
comply
what
with.
these people are here on.
You have no idea.
No, I do because I'm their attorney.
Okay, so what were their
So
conditions
get
of
out.
release? What
I'm not
conditions?
telling you because you don't know.
They were alternatives to
Get
detention,
out.
right? Alternatives to
No,
detention?
get out.
We're gonna go arrest other people.
You have no idea what it is. Get the fuck out of here. And try to grow a pair. Do something good for your living.
I'm talking really politely to you. I know you're trying to get under my skin.
No,
Fine.
I care.
It's
I
fine.
care about people. All right, so get in your car and leave.
Yes.
Where are you coming in from?
That's none of your business.
No?
Nope.
We care about our people.
All right. That's who's out on these streets. I don't know about y'all, colleagues. Can't you feel the misogyny underneath every interaction? Like, we'll get to what they were saying, the ludicrous nature of some of their statements, like, you know, well, how do you know what you don't know what their case is? She's like, I'm their attorney. And they were like, oh, okay. Like that's low-hanging fruit. You could just feel, especially from that first guy, and I think that's why they kind of recruit these kind of Proud Boy guys. They say a lot of racism starts with misogyny. A lot of ways that they lure guys in is to these kind of right-wing racist organizations. Even if you're Latino, is they go yeah, what's going on with these chicks, man? A great looking guy like you, how come you don't have any of these girls? They're dating all the drug dealers and basketball players. It's code for something. They say, why don't you come on in, have a beer with us, talk to us. Now once they have you in, that's when they start with the racial stuff. But you can see that the baseline that this guy is coming at her with the condescension, the guy that had the circus strongman mustache, these weirdo kind of Proud Boy that harkening back to another time kind of mustache. Those guys, they all kind of come with this baseline misogyny, and especially the fact that she was a woman that was educated and was not scared of them. You could see, like, there was a moment where he started playing around with this pepper spray. Like, he was deciding whether a guy that was probably 2.5 times that woman's size, and I'm just taking a guess, was still like, I want to pepper spray her just because I want to see her react to that. There's something bigger that we're dealing with. The fact that there are so many different kinds of men, because in that video you saw so many different kinds. You saw the aggressive guy that has his no mask, because that's kind of like how he did. He says, I'm not like these other ICE agent guys. I'm a tough guy, I show my face. There's that kind that was aching to get his hands on somebody. And don't forget who they were there to get. They were there to get people that are going through the asylum process properly. So for all your neighbors that go, oh, I just want them to go through and come in this country the right way, that's how we treat those people. So show them that clip when your neighbors that don't want to be as like pro-ICE as they really are, when they say leave the country and come back legally, these people are literally in real time going through the asylum process the correct way, and they are still there at the courthouse, at their home, waiting for them. Why? Because they have a mandate, because they have to make their numbers. We all know, and it's been a thing forever, that towards the end of the month, everybody's like, oh, watch your speed out there. It's the end of the month, and cops got to make their quota. We all know that. No one like flips out. Well, these guys do too. You think they don't have mandates? You think that they don't have things in place to make sure they're not just ICE agents out there driving around, not really trying to arrest and detain people? They need to incentivize these people to do that. And once you very quickly burn through the handful of real criminals, you're like, oh, we still got a whole bunch of people to get this mandate. So what do? We got to start going to Home Depot parking lots. We're all drug dealer kingpins hang out. We need to go to daycare centers and churches. And once you can't find those people anymore because those people are not where they used to be because of your presence, now you have to go to their homes. We are now at step 3. Well, Sarge, there's a problem. We think that there's undocumented people in there, but they have the door shut, and this is America. Well, not really. It's Donald Trump's America. They kicked in the door. They've kicked in the door to several housing complexes, and they just go door to door. Just kick it in. Their kids in there. Do you understand the scarring and the trauma that is going to last for years after this? What the kids that watched their grandfather arrested and dragged out of his home in Minnesota yesterday in his underwear, what those kids will deal with in their 20s. There is going to be hell to pay for this, and there's going to be an emotional toll that is taken by the people that watched people be maced, tried to stand up for their neighbors and punched, and were punched, people that were run over, and people that witnessed that. The idea that these are videos that we're just watching is really not doing justice to how communities and people work. I tried to get the video up, but I can't. But there was a young man in Anaheim, California. He was a teenager. There was a man being accosted. You can see the video footage. It's out. It happened, I believe, yesterday. But it's in Anaheim, California. There's a high school kid that's working at the car wash. Obviously, U.S. citizen. Not that it matters. And there was a man being accosted and tackled by ICE. He voiced his displeasure by yelling. They then ran across the street, tackled him, beat him up. This is an 18-year-old kid working at a car wash, and dragged him into a car and drove away. There was a 21-year-old protester that I saw that was shot in point blank range with, I don't think it was a rubber bullet because he probably lost his eye. What are the other, like a smoke bomb or something? But anyway, he lost his eye. So he'll go through the rest of his life. And he did the interview with no sunglasses on or even no bandage because he wanted people to see what the government had done to him. There are people that have witnessed trauma night after night, either whether it be online or in real time, or know somebody that it's happened to. And I think that we have to really be ready to deal with the blowback from that, because there is going to be a lot of people that have a lifelong mistrust, and maybe they should. Maybe that's the way to keep things like this from happening again, is having mistrust. Maybe I wouldn't have felt so comfortable parading around not knowing much about the government until my early 40s, because shady shit was going on then too. But I think myself and a lot of other people were just like, oh, it's kind of politics, whatever. And this is what happens when there are no checks on power, when there are no repercussions for transgressions against other citizens. And I think the world that we live in now is reflective of that. So with that, guys, I think we've done a show. I'm glad that I did. One, in that, like, Sar will not be upset with me, but two, because I realized that just talking about all this is inside of me as well. And I I always act like this stuff doesn't bother me, but I look at this stuff. I recorded on my phone for the show, and I recorded to send to friends. But you know, every time you touch something like this, every time you see something like this, it takes a piece of you as well. And without being corny, colleagues, I will say this: talking with you guys and just seeing you guys, you know, talking and chatting in the community that we formed and the community that will live on because this show ain't going nowhere. Yes, Julia, it is cathartic. I just, you know, but Julia, I'm a 50-year-old black man, Julia, and I think a lot like my dad, I internalize things and I'm even unaware of how they affect me. But if you're a human being, yes, W, we're all traumatized, and I'm not better than anybody. I'm not made of steel, although I can make it look like it. You know, when I watch kids that look like my son, I remember when we were doing DBL, the one story that I could not get through was the Elijah McClain story. I still don't talk about it that much because I get choked up immediately. But not only did he have the name of my oldest son, but he had the condition of my youngest son. And it is my biggest fear um, that something would happen with them. And so I think about the parents that get the phone call that one of these maniacs has put their hands on their son or their daughter. And I think about how angry and how helpless so many people feel. But I just want to let everybody out there know that for as much as it's terrible now, things will get better because don't forget, like everything ebbs and flows. And right now, the bad guys are up, but that can't last forever. You see it fracturing already. And once the rats start to flee the ship, there will be a day where people get their comeuppance, and we will do 3-hour shows for that. We're gonna make a little popcorn and enjoy that. But until then, colleagues, from my heart, straight up, I love you guys. Thank you guys, and we will see you tomorrow.